Hey everybody, Sol here. I have only one rule here. If it's animated, I'll comment on it. And I found this weird book while I was doing one of my walks outside. It says it's called a Death Note. And according to the absolutely multitudinous amount of rules in this thing, apparently if I write the name of another human in this book, they'll die. And I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it does make me a little tempted. I mean, who am I to say who should live or die, you know, that's not really for me to decide, but it does make me wonder how I could change this world if maybe some of the worst people were to die. Anyway, I got a little curious, and I looked online to see if there was anyone else who had one of these things. And it turns out there's actually an entire anime series based on this book here. So, I think I'm going to talk about that instead, because I'm no snob, I don't review books. I will stick to good old cartoons, thank you very much. Now then, let's get this all out of the way here real quick. So Death Note was originally conceived as a manga series made by Tsugumi Oba, and it began serialization in Weekly Shonen Jump in 2003. The anime series was subsequently produced by Madhouse, directed by Tetsuro Araki, and it began airing in Japan in 2006 with a total of 37 episodes, including one recap episode. That's a weird number of episodes for an anime series, wouldn't you say? But hey, sometimes it's fun to shake things up a little bit. And speaking of shaking things up a little bit, let's just get out of this. I'm going to take a closer look at this Death Note, see how it works, while you guys are going to take an even closer look at the anime series, Death Note. Alright, to kick this off in a good way, let me start by saying the plot is basically squatting heavily over this entire concept like a fat chicken in a Walmart scooter. And what do I mean by that? Well, one day, while a young man named Light Yagami is sitting at school being bored, he stumbles upon a death note dropped by a Shinigami by the name of Ryuk. The death note states that if a human's name is written into the notebook, that person will die, among frankly an absolutely ridiculous amount of other rules. Light decides to use the Death Note to rid the world of criminals and bad people in order to create a new utopia where all men respect each other, over which he would rule as a god. What follows is a densely packed plot where Light desperately tries to hide his identity as Kira, which is derived from the Japanese pronunciation of the word killer, from a brilliant mysterious detective who goes by the alias L, and those on the Japanese task force who dedicate themselves to catching Kira. Trust me, all you people out there, that this is only the most cursory of explanations to this giant melting parfait of a plot. But even though the plot is sprawling and may overwhelm some people who try to grasp everything in one viewing, I will just say that it is an extremely good premise, and may in fact raise some ethical questions within yourself. Luckily, the series manages to stay focused for the majority of the runtime, so it never feels the need for filler or padding, just some genuinely great storytelling. And in this crazy world full of series which are just plagued with plot diarrhea, I am sincerely grateful for that. I think at this point it should just be a given that any anime series I talk about is going to have way too many characters to go into each one individually, allowing me only a cursory glance so I don't bore you all to death. Oh, actually, can you bore someone to death with this thing? I wonder, can you actually kill someone like that? But who deserves to be bored to death? It's kind of cruel. Normally, I would kick off with the person who is considered to be the protagonist of the series, but in this case, I have to start off with the bad guy of sorts. Since he is the protagonist, I guess. He's certainly not an anti-hero. I don't know, but anyway, Light Yagami is the, star of the show, who is just so fucking good at every goddamn thing in the universe that it's almost patronizing. Light has genius intelligence, foresight better than the Joker in The Dark Knight, good looks, popularity, a Justin Bieber haircut, and never seems to weary of all his introspective thoughts. But does that make him bad as a character? No, it really doesn't. That would be his absolutely infuriating hubris. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I don't hate Light. I just hate everything about him. If that makes any sense. To me, Light has the irritating self-confidence of a bulletproof man at an NRA meeting. I know that's just his character, and yeah, it's nice to see the main character be rigidly focused and immovable, but it causes this weird disconnect with his actual personality. Without getting too high and mighty here, I think it's safe to say that nobody can genuinely relate to Light as a character. He borders on being a non-character. Actually, no, scratch that. Light is basically just a sentient script. And what I mean by that is, it's like the creators wrote a script for the whole story, all its plot points, climaxes, scenarios, and supporting cast, then turned it into a character. I know I'm getting a little too hypothetical at this point, but it's hard to pin down exactly what I don't like about Light. I know lots of people do like him, and that's fine, but personally I just find him to be one more smug grin short of a boot to the face at all times. But if Light Yagami is basically just a sentient script, then the deuteragonist L is basically a crazy obsessed fan who pores over and researches and studies every single part of that script just out of sheer fervor. L is a world-renowned genius detective that has solved many unsolvable cases in the past, who takes it upon himself to catch Kira no matter what the cost. I know I've given characters with genius intellect shit in the past, like Hiro Hamada in Big Hero 6, since those types of characters never seem to have the actual traits of a real genius, but L, I'm happy to say, certainly does. In short, L is just fucking weird, like many real geniuses. But in saying that, he's also extremely entertaining. Yes, he has some of that good at everything for no reason trait that Light possesses as well, but I feel like it's more justified with L, since he's specifically trained to be good as opposed to just winning the lottery of life like Light did. Now we got a big stampede of side characters coming up, so let's give them all nice, one-sentence long descriptions, eh? There's Ryuk, the Shinigami, aka Death God, who dropped his death note in the human world, who gets his entertainment from watching Light kill people and has a serious addiction to apples. Misa Amane, aka Misa Misa, a monumentally annoying girl who gets her own death note, becoming the second Kira, and fervently clings to Light like some kind of overly sensitive, high-pitched leech. Soichiro Yagami, Light's father and head of the task force seeking to arrest and bring justice to Kira, Matsuda Tota, Aizawa Shuichi, Mogi Kanzo, and Ide Hideki, 4 other members of the task force who are neither aggravating nor engaging, Watari, L's assistant who provides L with everything he needs, including candy, as well as Nier, a young boy who is made to be L's successor, and Mello, another successor to L who tries to take his own path in capturing Kira. This is really only scraping the surface of the characters, and I know I skipped over some important ones, but I really want to tiptoe around spoiler territory here so I don't drown under a tidal wave of angry comments. So I hope you're satisfied for now, because I'm just gonna saunter along to the good things, and, you know, to quote Mr. Hanky, if you don't like it, well, I guess you can suck my tiny little balls. So many possibilities. Think about how I could change the world with just a stroke of my pen. If I did it though, I'd have to make sure no one would ever find out. Oh, you, all of you out there in internet land, you can keep a secret, right? Can't you? Can't you? Well then, it's certainly been a while since I've been able to say that the absolute greatest thing about this series is its plot. While nobody would blame you if you got swept away in the ever-encroaching tidal wave of exposition that is continually barfed out of everyone's mouths and minds throughout the entire series, that is where it gets a large amount of its appeal, since, while there is a lot of it, none of the dialogue seems superfluous, with the exception of Misa, that spineless little bitch. This is a series that rewards you for being devoted and for paying attention. Since the characters are discovering things at the same pace you do, it's fun to carry along with the plot progression and see how things escalate from the misguided wiles of a bored teenager to an international crisis, carrying a body count bigger than some wars without feeling uninviting. That's one thing Death Note has over other things with a similar strict adherence to plot progression, like Shiki, Kiseiju Sei no Kakuritsu, aka Parasite, Shingeki no Kyojin, or Code Geass. Accessibility. It invites questions about morality without being too heavy-handed, and creates real tension between the characters without beating you around the head with it. In short, this series is quite solid in all of its core elements, and that is quite an achievement in this day and age. Plus, the interactions between Light and Elle are suitably tense and exciting, and it's definitely entertaining to watch both of them mentally suss out the other, trying to find cracks in their facades and bring one another to their eventual end. It's all quite engaging, if I do say so myself. This is harder than I thought it would be. I mean, I don't really know anyone who's deserving of death. I mean, the worst they're probably deserving of is a punch in the face. Ooh, I wonder if I could use this book to control someone, to punch everyone in the face, and then have them die. No, actually, that's stupid. Oh, God, why is this so hard? Now, let me make this abundantly clear at this time. I will not be repeating myself. When I say something is bad, that means it is bad to me. You guys come here to hear my thoughts and opinions, not to have me regurgitate your thoughts and opinions. So, with that in mind, I'm going to talk about the bad things now, and if they don't directly reflect what you believe is bad about the series, I don't really care. Get it? Alright then, let's take a look at what makes this series bad. God have mercy on me. While the core of the series is as solid as a boulder, I find it all seems to fall apart a little when it tries to be dramatic. No, not tense. Dramatic, like when it does unnecessary flourishes in the animation or music when something totally simple is happening, like writing down names in the Death Note. It honestly just ruins the moment a lot of the time, and makes me snicker in amusement instead of grip my heart in amazement. In tandem with that, I feel as though this series' moral gray area isn't as gray as it thinks it is. The series just can't quite seem to capture that absolutely heart-wrenching morality dispute like Shiki did, because it's just humans killing humans, which, just like in real life, no matter the circumstances, is a bad thing. To assume that this will cause conflict in viewers smacks a little of pretension, doesn't it? But let's not beat around the bush here. The absolute worst thing about this series is- actually, let me just put a spoiler warning up here first. Happy? Okay, anyway. The latter half of the series after Elle is killed. Think of it this way. Imagine if in the Harry Potter series of books, 6 out of the 7 books Harry was the star. Then, in the 7th book, he was abruptly killed off and replaced with a younger, smarter version called Barry Trotter, who then killed Voldemort by kicking him in the shins. That's basically what happens here, and it makes everything grind to a complete halt. All tension that was building up is sucked out immediately upon Elle's death, since the original conflict was always between Light and Elle, and that's where all the tension and enjoyment came from. So, if there had been a younger, better version of Elle the whole time, it retroactively makes Elle's existence pointless, which is infuriating because he's the most interesting and endearing character by far. Not exactly jumping the shark, but it really does a good job at tearing down that great, massive wall of tension it was methodically building. We good? Can I move on now? Alright, awesome. Well, I'm going to talk about my least favorite and favorite episode, and before all of you go down to the comments and tell me what a hater bitch I'm being, just remember, I can kill you with this notebook. So maybe think twice about what you put down there in the comments. Well, if I'm a hater bitch today, I might as well embrace it. So I'd have to say that my least favorite episode would be Scorn. Oh, and spoiler warning for both these episodes, guys. I can't stress that enough. In this episode, Nier goes to Japan to be closer to Kira, of whom he is now certain is Light. While actual important stuff is going on, however, Misa has an altercation with Kiyomi Takada, Kira's representative and Light's old girlfriend. Kiyomi and Misa then have dinner together and squabble like drunk hens. Well, the reason I don't really care for this episode is mostly just because of the scenes with Misa and Kiyomi. I really don't give a shit who is Light's girlfriend. There are more important things happening right now. Also, it's heavy on Misa's presence, which is a guaranteed one-way ticket to my shit list. Let's see. Death by swallowing a sack of quarters? No. Death by sudden expulsion of internal organs through the anus. No, that's too messy. Death by chocolate? Oh, right. So, my favorite episode would have to be, Decision. At this point in the series, Misa has been detained and is being tortured for proof that she is the second Kira. Light, after formulating a plan with such unbelievable amount of foresight that even Garnet from Steven Universe would call bullshit, volunteers himself to be detained as well, admitting that he may in fact be Kira. The reason I put this episode above the rest is because, for about half the episode, Light actually acts like a real person, not the walking, talking avatar of the show's script. It also begins to build up some great amounts of tension that just keep building and building in a most impressive way. Definitely one that's worth a peek. Death Note is a strange entity. Let it never be said that I think this series is bad by any means, it just has some real missteps on the stairway to greatness. In a more perfect world, this series could be one of the best out there, if only a lackluster second half didn't keep it from attaining true greatness. With a plot that's more than enough to keep you invested, and some memorable leading men, the series has a lot going for it. But unfortunately, those things fail to hold up when it starts to crack under its own mighty weight. I give Death Note
3 eyes out of 5.
So, Death Note. Is it watchable? Sure as hell is. I mean, some people are gonna find other parts more watchable than other parts, but the majority of the time, yeah, I'd say it's pretty watchable. Is it enjoyable? Well, like I said, the latter half of the series really does start to crack under the weight of its own story and the loss of one of its strongest legs. But I'd say overall, yeah, it is an enjoyable experience. I think people enjoy it more than I do personally, but that's just me. Is it memorable? Well, let's see. In addition to this anime series, Death Note also has 3 live-action movies, with a 4th coming sometime this year, several video games, light novels, a TV drama, and even a fucking musical. It's also been involved in some real-world murders and expulsions from schools. So, how's that for memorable? You know, all this talk about the Death Note, I think it's giving me an idea as to who I should write in here. The one person on Earth I know who deserves to die, who should never have existed in the first place. Yeah. Want to stay up to date with the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my Death Note review. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, I would appreciate a like and a share as well as a subscribe to my channel because I really do appreciate that. If you want to check out my previous 2 episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now. Or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitch channel, Twitter page, and my Facebook fan page there on the screen for you, as well as in the description. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add it to my list. Okay? Thanks again for watching everybody, and I will see you next week for another review.